Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Pokémath. What are we going to do today? We're going to be clowning around a bit. We are simply going to take a look at Blacephalon, or what we call Baby Blaze, in this post-rotation format. Let's go. Hey guys, and welcome again. My name is Stefan Eriksson, for those who don't know me, and today, take me to the circus. We're going to be looking at Baby Blaze or Baby Blacephalon post-rotation. Well, rotation's been a while ago already, but you know what? We're just going to take a look at it anyway. And in any case, it's pretty much a decent deck for Players' Cup. How do I go say that? Well, I actually took it for a spin in the Players' Cup. And yet, I actually got 5 points with it, so what do you know? I actually got multiple points with it, but what it happens to be here, I just need to hit my own target that I put in my other video of at least, say, 71, 76 points. I'm well on the way there, currently at 48, still got keys to go, so we're okay. But before we get today, I would like to say that today's video is actually sponsored by Card Market. And what is Card Market? For those of you who don't know it, it's a place where you can actually go and buy or sell your Pokemon cards or even Magic cards or even for other card games. I use it a lot myself, mostly as a buyer. That's how I could get my all my nice full arts in different languages. As a European platform, it definitely has a lot of options in terms of getting for different languages, whether that will be English, German, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, or whatnot, right? Even a lot of Japanese cards are found on there for European sellers. If you want to sell your stuff, you can also go there and sell as well. So there's definitely options. I would definitely recommend trying out Card Market if you haven't already done so. And with that said, let's go and clown around for today, shall we? And Baby Blaze it is. Take me to the circus, please. So what are we going to be doing? First of all, I always put up my question, and is Blacephalon a good deck? Well, as this little, I can totally do this. This little picture here shows, well, I did indeed win an event, like I said, and well, let's see if I can qualify for Players' Cup at the end. That would be nice because as a reward, I can then play Control decks. Why? Because we get a longer time limit. It's pretty hard to play Control under these 12.5-minute time limit. So I need to find other decks for now. So I'm just jumping around, trying a bit, and, well, I tried Blacephalon for this event here, and it went quite okay. So we're going to do a couple different things. You've seen this type before. We're going to look at the deck first, then going to look at some statistics, and then we're going to take it for a game or two. So how are we going to do all this here? This is my good friend, the hypergeometric distribution or multivariate. I'm going to be using both today. I'm just going to leave this here. If you want a detailed explanation, I will invite you to go and watch episode 1 or 6. But essentially, we're trying to see what the probability for hitting at least one or more of a given card that we are interested in. Drawing, well, normally 7 from the deck, but sometimes more. And that's what this distribution can actually do for you. Most important here, we are sampling without replacement. Why without replacement? Because remember, when you're drawing from a card, you're typically not putting them back. Therefore, every time you draw, the deck that you draw from becomes smaller and smaller, and therefore, we're not talking about a binomial distribution anymore. No, we're moving over to the hypergeometric world. And that's why this is a little different from most. For more explanation about it, visit my other episodes. But for that said, let's go and take a look at today's list. So see you over in PGO, and then we'll be back in a moment. Hey guys, and welcome over to PGO, and now let's take a look at the deck that we're going to be using today. The deck we're going to be discussing some statistics about, and what you're going to see me play, and please not fail, a couple of games later this episode here. So let's get to it. Well, we've seen Baby Clown before, but for those of you who are not familiar with the concept, well, you can in principle do all the damage that you require to take any potential knockout in the given format. As in this particular list, we're playing 15 energies, which means that, well, for free fire energy, you're allowed to do 50 damage for each fire you discard from your hand. That means, assuming you're going to have 3 attached to it, then leaves you a maximum damage output of 12 times 50, which is enough of that. A lot of damage. Yeah, guys, that should be enough to take any knockout that you would need. However, well, you need to get all the energy into hand, and that might be difficult in this newer format compared to before, because we do not longer have Fiery Flint, unfortunately. What we still have is the Blazer attack, which is, well, for 1 energy, you can flip one of your prize cards. If it's a fire energy, you do 50 extra damage, so that can be 60 damage. And important KOs here is Jirachi, for instance, but it can also take out a lot of other basic Pokemon starters and whatnot. So it's not a bad attack if you have nothing better to do in any case. We are using the Dedenne as setup here, combined with a Crobat. Why not 2 Dedenne? Well, if we happen to have to play both in the same turn, we now can. 4 Jirachis, because Jirachi's still the best starter, can search deck, also just good to have it a pivot. We play so many switching cards, 4 switch, 4 scoop up nets, so getting it out of the active spot should be decent. We do here, I play Zacian V, or Zacian V, however you want to pronounce it, for the ability only, not attacking in this deck, because, well, I don't see any metal energies, I don't think you see them either. And, of course, we use Interpret Sword, because, well, if we're going first, say, or we don't have a turn where we can't attack anyway, then drawing 3 cards from your deck is pretty good. We are most of the time trading favorably in prices, because we're mostly giving up one price. Unless, of course, Boss's Order goes in and intervenes and take 2 prizes off the Zacian, of the Crobat, the Dedenne, or the Cramorant, which is this deck's sniping attacker. Why? Because we can do 160 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So sometimes finish off something big you didn't manage to kill in one hit, or simply snipe off of the Dedenne GX for game. And big catch, solid attack, search any 2 cards in your deck, can also get things started. In this list here, I play Oricorio, because Oricorio is very good after getting these, when people knock out your Basaphilons, then this is a very good way to fill up your hand and meet the necessary requirements, do a lot of damage. You could discuss to play Eldegoss V over Mewtwo, but I prefer Mewtwo here because we still have enough draw to make Mind Report okay. It puts a supporter back on top of your deck from your discard pile, so essentially it's an extra welder or an extra boss, and we can either set up for drawing next turn, or we can get it straight away with Jirachi, of course, and that for me is good enough to play that one over Eldegoss. And another thing here, I did include a Marshadow simply because since we do play 4 Giant Hearths, I simply want Chaotic Swell not to be such a big issue. Besides, there's another little cool thing. Suppose there's a Giant Hearth in play from last turn, you can use it, use Resetting Hole, and replace with a Giant Hearth again. Because remember, you can't replace the same stadium with the same stadium, obviously. So this here enables you actually get more energy if that situation arises. 4 Quick Balls, not much to say. We got a couple of Great Balls to add extra consistency. We need a lot of energy retrieval here, so 4 Fire Crystal is the must, giving up 12 energies extra. And then an extra 4 from these 2's energy retrieval, which is essentially just a weaker version of Fire Crystal. But why is this card still even playable? Well, for other decks, this can put any 2 basic energies, but since we're only looking with fire here. Ordinary Rod shuffles back a couple of Clowns if we need, or other Pokemon and basic energy, so actually we can recycle even more. That actually, from what I can see here, should round up the deck list we're going to be using today. Going to see me back in PGO later in this episode, but we're going to take a couple of games. Until then, let's go back and check out some statistics, shall we? And welcome back, guys. I hope you like my little view of the deck here, so you can look forward to what we're going to play later on. But first, let's go and answer a couple of things about the deck. I've opened 4 different things. I can totally point the right direction here. From what we're going to be looking at. And as you can see, I've actually done many of these things in different videos, but I'm going to try to pull it all together now to make a nice formula for how we can do it with different decks. So we're going to be looking at starting with a specific number of basics, or at least a certain number of basics. Lone Dedenne start, or Lone Crobat. Pricing the welders, because, well, yeah, I know I have a love-hate relationship with welders, so I like pricing them, as you might know. Episode 3 for that, boys and girls. And then, of course, we want to see what is the chance of opening with Welder and 2 energies. And that is an interesting question. Why? Because not only can we hit 2 energies, but we can also hit Giant Hearths, right? And that is the most interesting probability today, in my opinion, because that's a little different than what we've done before, maybe going one step further, right? So, without further ado, let's get into looking into, some probabilities. Rambling a lot today, but you know what? That's part of doing this YouTube video. So if you want to hear more about this here, how this is calculated, go to episode 1, because that's where I actually show this. What do we see here? Given that we play 15 basics in this deck, you can go back if you're miscounting. Maybe I made a mistake, not changing it anymore. But with 15 basics, these are the probabilities of starting with exactly that number of basics. So for instance, if you want to have the probability of starting with exactly 2 basics in our hand, the probability will be, well, 33.22%. So 1/3 of the games, we are roughly going to start with exactly 2 basics in our hand. We can, of course, just change this a little bit to at least the number of basics. And how do you actually go from the one table to another? Well, you sum all these rows into the row one on the other one. So starting with at least that number of basics is exactly the same as saying we sum all the probability of starting with exactly 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will give the first probability up here of 88.25. And if we do 1 minus that, we get the probability of a mulligan. And that's what we're going to use later on as well. So looking here, we can do the same for at least 2, at least 3, 4, 5, 6, and well, guess 7. It doesn't mean the probability is 0, by the way. It's just because it's 0 at 4 decimals. So we can talk about the probability being there, but it's really small. Okay, that's the first thing. Let's look at starting with that lone Dedenne. And this time I just put the calculations up there. And normally I would have done this in many steps you see in episode 2, because I really try to explain all the steps you have to think about here. But now here I take a shortcut using the multivariate hypergeometric distribution. So essentially I can do this in one go rather than doing step by step. We have 1 Dedenne in deck. What is the probability to draw 1 Dedenne? And none of our other 14 basics. And then 6 other cards from our deck. And of course we subtract 15 because, well, we have 15 basic cards, so we have 45 other cards drawing. And we draw 7 cards from our deck, which gives 2.11%. However, this of course has to be controlled for mulligans because sometimes we start with 0 basics, and therefore that would increase the probability of us unfortunately starting lone Dedenne, which seems to happen more than 2.39%, but statistically speaking, that's the probability. And because we also only play 1 Crobat V, we can of course extend this and say that's the probability of starting lone Crobat V, or lone Zacian at least. But I don't know about you, but I actually prefer starting Zacian over Crobat and Dedenne, but well, that's my choice, right on, Matt? That's my opinion. So that's lone Dedenne for you. Let's go and see if I don't price any welders this time. And I just copied the table from my episode 3, so you can go back and look a little further there. But we can see here, this is general for copies in deck of, say, non-basic Pokemon, because there should be a correction for that. So this here will count for welders and other items, energies or evolutions, anything you cannot start with. So suppose now we have X copies in a deck, so 4 copies of welder. What is the chance that I price, say, 3 welders like I did before on stream, for instance? That is 0.22%. Very, very small. But it does happen. And of course, if I play 1 copy of a given card, it's 10% that I will price it. And that's how we can calculate that here. I'm not going to say so much about it other than, yeah, okay, yes, I'm haunted by welder. But let's see if welder helps me out when we go and play some games. And now comes the interesting probability. We're going to talk about opening welder and 2 energies. We do a little similar trick in my Chandelure video in episode 9. However, what we essentially want to calculate is the probability of starting with a welder and a basic and 2 energies or 1 giant hearth. Why do I put the basic in there? Simple, because we don't want a mulligan. The probability of course would be higher if I only looked at welder and energies, but we need a basic as well. I do make one simplification here everybody should know. I'm just talking about a certain basic, a basic, which means there could still be the Dedenne, which I would argue starting with welder 2 energies, the Dedenne is still pretty bad. But this is just to show what's the probability of starting with the welder and 2 energies or giant hearth, so you can actually go a full powered welder. If you want to calculate for exactly what basic, the probability will be smaller, of course, because you're restricting your sample, or your subset in this case. So we can rewrite this probability, and that looks a little difficult, but essentially what we're doing is the same as in episode 9. We're splitting this probability up, so we're now trying to calculate the probability of welder and 2 energy or 1 giant hearth, given that we have a basic in our hand, multiplied by the probability of actually getting a basic. So that's what we're going to be doing. First of all, we need the probability for getting a basic. We already calculated that. See earlier slide from episode 1, for instance. So that's 88.25%. So, well, that one is there. That leaves us, well, with the rest here that we have to calculate. Okay, there's a few things we have to remember when calculating this. First of all, the energies / giant hearth and welder can actually come in the first 8 cards, right? Because we don't necessarily have to start with any of it. However, given that we have a basic, that still gets reduced to 7 cards because one of these 8 cards has to be reserved for the basic you start with. So essentially, we're drawing 7 cards from a 59 card deck rather than a 60 card deck, because one will be the basic that we have assumed that we already drawn. Not assumed, conditioned upon. Okay, so first of all, we actually need to calculate 3 things, because we're going to split this thing up in, to something that looks a little more complicated. Hopefully it doesn't get too complicated. I'll try to explain step by step. But we're using a fact from probability theory that said if we have 2 events, A and B, the union of the 2, that is the probability of both of them happening, or, and, or whatever we call it here. Wait, I can do this, I can do this. The union of A and B, we can split them up and say, okay, the probability of event A happening, plus the probability of event B happening, minus the intersection of the 2, that is both happening at the same time. That's how we should say it. Now I corrected myself. So we're actually trying to figure out what is the probability of opening my 1 welder and 2 energies, 2 fire energies, plus the probability of opening welder plus a giant hearth, because that will always also accomplish it. But we have to subtract the probability of both of those things happening at the same time because they overlap. So I have to subtract the probability of opening still a welder, 2 energies, and a giant hearth because they overlap here. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So let's calculate 2 of the first things, and then the third, and then put it all together. Probability of welder and 2 energies. We have a standard thing here. I have shown that in episode 6, and again in episode 9. Go take a look. But we get 20.6%. And likewise for the other version again, we get 15%. Of course, the probability for the hearth version is less because, well, we play 15 energies versus 4 giant hearths. So you see that the probability gets a lot less this way. And you see again, we draw it from a deck of 59 cards. Notice this. 7 cards from a 50 card deck. Or 59 card deck, sorry. All that put together. Now, we have the last probability, which is all of it happening together. And that, of course, becomes an even bigger monstrosity. And again, here I can shout out to the Deculator calculator if you want to do this easy for yourself. But you can, of course, also calculate all this manually. That's also a possibility. But it gives 6.4%, which, when we put it all together, we, of course, would have to subtract that 6.4%. So I'm putting the same equations up here I already explained. And now I'm just putting in the numbers that we got, right? So we know that probability of the first event happening, welder and 2 energies, was 20.6%. We know the probability of welder and a giant hearth version is 15%. We know that the chance of them both happening is 6.4, plus minus, and then multiply by the probability of getting at least a basic, right? Which lands at 25.77%. That is at least my estimate. As usual, disclaimer, I might make a mistake. I hope not. But I think this is the right way to do it. At least it's an easy way to do it. It looks like a monstrosity, but really, it's not that bad, guys. And that will be the chance of you opening a basic Pokemon, a welder, and 2 energies, which happens in, well, 1 out of 4 games. And actually, the real in-game probability can be even higher because you could open Jirachi, still a wish for something, you could play it, then draw more cards. So the probability is actually even higher than this happening. And that makes perfect sense in my opinion because you see it all the time against welder decks. They always seem to have welder and 1 or 2 energies. That happens so often. That's why welder is such a strong card. And well, let's go back to PGO for a game or 2 and see me clown around and please that I don't fail miserably. See you back in a bit, guys. Hey guys, and welcome back to PGO again. And this time we're gonna go and take this clown deck for a spin. I wanted to start here because I think the Versus Ladder is actually making a joke of me here because, well, the Cephalon GX was a very good inclusion in the deck before rotation, and now it just sits here and laughs in my face when I can't use it anymore. So we're gonna go with my clown deck here, or clone as I wrote this in Danish, because, well, why not? We're gonna go take a game or 2 and see how miserably I will fail with this deck. I do have a win streak from 1, I don't even remember what I got that from, but let's see if we can improve of that win streak, shall we? So, again, for those who haven't seen this before, well, I don't mind going first. I know I can choose. Well, it's because we can set up Sashin and be sure to actually get something I want. This is I must say, one of the better starting hands I've seen with this deck in a long time. Since I am going first, seems pretty good just to get things set up with Great Ball and Quick Ball, and also draw some cards with Zacian to make sure I get the necessary fire energies in hand to Welder next turn. That would be, I think that would be my way to go here. So I don't have to bench anymore right now. I'm going first anyway. It doesn't matter so much online, but when you play in real life, this actually can be very, very nice to just wait sometimes to see what to do. Charizard V. That's a first, for me at least. He is already heartbroken here. I'm going to help both of us here. I think this seems good just to get in play. I'm okay with him getting fire energies here because my whole point is that I should do more damage than he does. So get some energies here. Attach here. We already have the switch. Well, so I just need to get some more fire energies going. Well, oh, look. This is interesting because now, if the Giant Harp stays in play, I can actually do the combo with Marshall and another Harp to get even more fire in hand. And then I should have enough fire to hopefully take out this Charizard. Given right now, I will need 5 fire energies plus the 2, so I need to see 7 more fire energies plus a switching card. Well, I already have the switching card in hand, so it should be okay. But, well, this pretty much looks like we're going to be KOing a Volcanion instead. Because since he's going second, Flare Starter is pretty strong. So the thing is, I'm just going to play into getting myself KO'd because I need to take out that Volcanion. Then I assume he's going to take out my Basaphilon, and then I need to have a second one ready to go to take out the Charizard V Max, I would assume it's going to be at that point. So let's see what we're going to do with this hand. We already have enough switches. I have one here. So in this case here, I might as well just start thinning my deck a bit. Actually, I don't need my Crobat this time. I'm actually going to remove my Crobat because I'm going to use both Quick Balls. Because I need one for this. And I've learned actually, after playing this deck a couple of times, I know that getting that Oricorio down is just, Alpha and Omega. I lost so many times by not putting it down early enough because if people are going for the Oricorio, that's fine by me, simply for the fact that, hey, then they're not killing my Basaphilons, which I'm okay with. So I'm going to Giant Harp the fire away because we can get any retrieval card here. Getting those two. Then we have the Welder products here. Then I can always play this one down later. Let's see. I could get more cards out of my deck to improve my odds already. But I might just need that later. Let's just Welder first and see what I get. Hopefully a couple more energies. I need 3 fire to knock that one out. There's actually 1 here, plus our combo piece, but I could also Stellar Wish to see what I would get. I think I'll save the rod here. So if I would play, I would use my Scoop Up Net first, actually. But first, let's try to see if this combo actually, I'm happy that we can actually try and pull this combo off. Quite happy about that. Because now I can actually, I'm going to remove my Cramorant as well. I do have my Ordinary Rod, that's what I keep telling myself at least. And then here, I'm going to use my Scoop Up Net to take up my Jirachi. Promote Basaphilon to Blasaphilon. I cannot pronounce this properly. Now I'm sitting here and half whispering the whole time. And then we can Fireball Circus for a knockout. And now, what becomes very important now, besides getting another Welder, because that's always all well and good, haha, is we can, in this case here, we need to get some retrieval cards in, because I got 4 fire, 7 in the incoming, because he only needs 1 energy, and that is given, because, well, Giant Harvest there. He even discards 1 to find 2 extras. So let's see, the question is it going to be a VMAX or not? That's the real question here. And then we need to hit some big numbers. So let's see what it's going to be. It is going to be the big boy, which needs 7 energies for a knockout. That means I need to see a total of 10 energies this next turn. That can be rough. Yeah, that can be rough. And look here, he even plays heat energy to increase the hit points. Wait. Did he not G-Max Wildfire? Did he misclick? He actually... Wait, what? I'm a little confused, guys. Am I missing something? Comment in below if I miss something here, but I'm definitely going to go for a switch to see if I can get some more cool stuff. I think he might be afraid of activating my Oricorio or setting up some spread knockout. I'm not even sure at this point. Let's see what I can get. Another retrieval. That means that's 4 energies, 6 energies. Actually, if I leave my Chirachi up front, that might not even be such a terrible idea. Then I should not use my retrievals right now. Because if I leave it up front, then I'm going to use Sasha, then he draws 2 free, so I'm actually in a good spot if I just do this. See, then all the energy is there. Then he can boss his order to take out, of course, my Blacephalon or some other snipe attack that I haven't seen yet. Or just take out my Jirachi, activate Oricorio, and then I'm still good. Then I'm still in a very good spot. I didn't even have to hit a Welder this turn because I obviously didn't. People who see me play Welder decks before know that I'm inherently good at pricing them, although I could have just checked my deck for Welder counts this time, so that's my own fault. We are going to have to take out 2 Charizards here to finish the game, so yeah. We're going to need a lot of energy. I still believe he misclicked last turn. I really still believe that, but there might be something I haven't seen yet, so who knows. The thing is, I have 2 energies in my discard pile. I can have 3 with the Hearth. That's fine, because I can pick them up with the Crystal. I still need to have, how many? 7 energies to take this knockout. Well, the 7 energies are there. I could also just use Oricorio, of course, because I do get 3 extra cards right now. So see if I can actually afford to use Welder. I could afford to use Welder, and I can even get a Welder for next turn. You know what? Do I want a Welder for next turn? If I Welder 1 now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to Welder 1 now just to be sure, because if I start Weldering 2, what? Yeah. If I start Weldering 2 and I missed energy, I've done that kind of risky move before. That's really bad. Well, that's really bad if I would do that. I could get a Welder on top of my deck, but since I already have a Welder in hand, I'm going to save the Mewtwo for now. Okay, so 7, it should be okay. We should deck fin a little bit first. Yeah, Jirachi. Let's bench a Jirachi as well, because, well, as a pivot, right? Let's do some Fireball Circus. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. Let's do around 350. That means I miscount 1 energy I couldn't attach. Ah, I'm such a good person at this game here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can do math. Boom. 350. That means I just missed an attachment there, but if I Welder anyway, then hopefully that wouldn't matter squat. So the real question is he going to Marnie me, yes or no, or stamp me? Because in any case, I should have game in hand otherwise. So let's see what he's going to do. Very interested in seeing what's going to happen here. And so far we didn't miss Flint, only maybe a little, because I did have to take a turn with Sashian because I had to gather up energy, and that might happen more often now since we don't have Flint. Or in this case also our Prison Star Stadium is also missing, which is sad at times. I did like to play Blacephalon in the previous format, and now we're going to take it for another spin, as you can see. So let's see. What is he going to do? Well, me being knocked out is pretty certain at this point. And then he has 240 hit points. We have to remember this extra hit points gathered from his heat energy. So let's see. Let's see. He's sure taking his time. Was he very afraid for some reason? So 7. I just need 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're there. Whoopsie. Okay. He decided to make it easy for me. I have no idea. We can just be a show off. Let's see how much damage we can do. How much damage can we actually reach here? Oh, let's do this. I have a feeling that that is game. 450 damage. That is pretty decent. And that should seal off this game. And look, I priced a welder. I probably priced more. I didn't even pay attention much. That's stupid me. But look, a win today. Fantastic. And yeah, I think that should, for now, bring us back to finish off today's episode. Now you see, Vasafflon can still take some wins, but our opponent didn't make it too difficult today. But sometimes we're lucky, sometimes we're not. And, well, see you back at the episode. And welcome back, guys. Well, that went well, didn't it? I didn't lose, so I take that as a success. You get to see that they can still do something, this deck, even without Flint in the format. Although Flint was a major loss for the deck, but it's still pretty good because the price trade is often quite favorable. And so what did we learn today? We used a multivariate hypergeometric distribution, or just a hypergeometric at times, to calculate starting exact number basics, or at least X basics, loaned at NA start or Crobat, pricing them annoying welders, and starting with a welder plus 2 energies or giant Harf. And putting that all together, that's what we learned today. I hope you enjoyed this episode here. And, well, that's all what I have for you today. Until next time. Hey guys, and thanks for watching today's video. I hope you like my different take on things here with a little more statistical analysis of our baby Blaze friend, or Blacephalon. And you also got to see me clown around and actually win a game PGO. That happens once in a while, so I'm happy with that. And again, thanks for Cardmarket for sponsoring today's video. And you know what that actually could mean for you guys? That is, if you want to be one of the few lucky winners, in fact 2 lucky winners, will be given a Cardmarket voucher. All you have to do to participate in this little raffle here, or giveaway, is to like, comment and subscribe, and more specifically, comment if you have any, well, opinion about Baby Blaze, try to play it, against it, well, any nice memory of our little clown friend here will be really good to hear from you guys. With that said, thanks again, and well, thanks for the support of my channel, and I hope to see you back for another video. Until next time.